Ladies and gentlemen, this is Halomcr, and we're jumping right into this one for you guys. An update on the Alec Baldwin situation. The murder of Halyna Hutchins that had happened maybe 6 months ago, almost half a year. It happened not too long, but essentially Alec Baldwin was on the set of the new movie filming of Rust, starring Alec Baldwin, when a prop gun had fired off because of Alec Baldwin and his irresponsibility to check the gun before pulling the trigger, which resulted in the death of cinematographer Halyna Hutchins. And there has been so much controversy and backlash over this, and Alec Baldwin just pushing the blame onto other people instead of accepting responsibility for his own fault, which some people may say, well, it wasn't really his fault because he didn't know. But in my opinion, Alec Baldwin had the gun. He could have checked it at any point before firing the trigger and accidentally killing Halyna Hutchins. Now, it goes to show my point even more when Alec Baldwin comes out and says Alec Baldwin blames assistant director and prop managers for the Rust shooting. Now, I could somewhat see maybe prop managers somewhat being involved into this as well, but it ultimately still comes down to Alec Baldwin. He had the gun. He had the audacity to be able to check it. He could have double checked it. He could have gone so many steps to make sure this had not happened. And I don't have it right in front of me, but there was already article reports of Alec Baldwin having thousands upon thousands of live ammunition inside of his trailer. They were drinking the night prior before the shooting. So make sure you guys take that into consideration as well, that there was already some irresponsible shootings and cans and just shooting stuff before the night of the murder. Now, I'm not saying Alec Baldwin intentionally did this on purpose, but he is to hold some airing of responsibility because, again, you have a gun in your hand. Prop guns have been known to kill people already. Let's take in point in the case of The Crow, when the prop gun went off and shot and killed him. You know what I mean? Somebody had to take responsibility for that. And now this is another situation where it said it's Alec Baldwin in the murder of Halyna Hutchins. And he's just wanting to point the blame at other people other than himself. So I'm going to blame my assistant director and my props manager. They're the one that killed her, not me, even though I had the hammer in my hand and I pulled the trigger. Actor gives rare interview in which he insists to blame for Halyna Hutchins' death, despite holding the gun that fired the fatal shot. The actor and director Alec Baldwin has said the assistant director and the prop manager for his movie Rust were responsible for an on-set death of the cinematographer Halyna Hutchins during filming last year in New Mexico. Facing a lawsuit from Hutchins' family, Baldwin gave a rare interview on Friday in which he insisted he was not to blame for the October 2021 death, despite a shot from the gun he was holding, killing Hutchins and wounding the director, Joel Souza. Someone put a live bullet in the gun. Who should have known better? Fair enough. That could also be very true, but you also had the gun in your hand and you could have also checked it as well. It is also your fault too. It is not just one person alone. There was multiple people involved in this death, is the fact of what I'm trying to say. It's not just the director. It's not just the prop guy. It's you too. You had the gun. You pulled the trigger. You didn't think twice to even check it, despite the fact there was live ammunition already found, thousands upon cartridges found inside of your trailer. You are also to blame, Alec Baldwin. You cannot point the finger at anybody else other than yourself too. Someone put a live bullet in the gun. Who should have known better? Baldwin told CNN, referring to Rust armoire and prop manager Hannah Gutierrez Reed. So you have Alec Baldwin pointing the blame at Hannah. Just completely on Hannah. It is completely Hannah's fault. That was her job. Her job was to look at the ammunition and put dummy rounds or the blank round, and there wasn't supposed to be a live round on set. Baldwin, who said there is not a day goes by when he does not think about the death of Hutchins, also placed blame on the assistant director David Halls, who handed him the weapon and declared it cold or loaded it with non-live rounds. There are two people who didn't do what they were supposed to do, he said. I'm not sitting there saying I want them to, go to prison or I want their lives to be hell. I don't want that, but I don't want everybody to know that those are the two people that are responsible for what happened. Oh, of course, and again, he's just pushing blame off of him. And any way that he can save his ass from the lawsuit, he's going to push the blame onto other people. Because he doesn't want to be also entailed into responsibility of the murder of Halyna Hutchins. Through their attorneys, Gutierrez Reed Halls told CNN Baldwin's comments were an attempt to deflect blame. Of course, like I've said, the 64-year-old actor has insisted he never pulled the trigger of the weapon during the rehearsal for a scene in which he was supposed to fire a shot at the camera. Okay, but then this person wouldn't be dead right now if that was the case, so that's just bullshit. That's just irrelevant deflection from Baldwin trying to save his ass. But an FBI forensic study released last week cast doubt on Baldwin's account. The agency sent a report to Santa Fe Sheriff Office with a determination that the gun could not be fired without a pull on the trigger. Exactly, which also leaves Baldwin at responsibility for the death. But he is insisting it is not my fault. I did not have the gun in my hand and pulled the hammer. I didn't do it. It wasn't me. There was a fucking ghost that literally made my hand pull the trigger and not check it. Just having pure confidence in everybody's judgment, even though I paid them top dollar, anything and everything can go wrong, Alec Baldwin. It is still your responsibility when somebody hands you a gun, whether it's a prop gun or a real gun, to double check yourself. If somebody handed me a gun, regardless if it was a prop gun or not real gun, do you think, what my first intentions would be? To check if it was a fucking real gun. Because these things look real. Mistakes happen. You're on a set that has guns involved, live ammunition inside of your trailer that was already found the night prior, okay? It is your responsibility, as well as everybody else's, to double check this shit. If I was on a scene filming a show that had guns involved, you bet my ass would be checking up and down if this gun had live ammunition in it. That's just me, because I'm super paranoid of guns, and I'm obviously everybody is, because you don't want to get shot and killed. So again, it's just Alec Baldwin's feeble attempt to push blame onto other people other than his own goddamn self for the death of Halyna Hutchins. But an FBI forensic study released last week cast doubt on Baldwin's account. The agency sent a report to Santa Fe Sheriff's Office with a determination that the gun could not be fired without a pull of the trigger. In a statement to the broadcaster, Baldwin's lawyer said the FBI had misconstrued their findings and that the gun was in poor condition. Okay, well that still doesn't account. It still doesn't matter. If the gun was in poor condition, why did he still fire it? What, Alec Baldwin couldn't have looked at the gun and said, oh man, let me just open this shit up real quick and let me just see. The sheriff office is expected to make a recommendation to the county district office soon. Friday's CNN reported cited administrative complaint by New Mexico Environment Department's Occupational Health Safety Bureau against Russ Production Company, stating that Gutierrez Reed told Halls to alert her when Baldwin arrived so she could perform safety check on the firearm. So now you have her blaming the other person and blaming him and blaming it's literally a circle jerk of blaming, just back and forth constantly, just them all blaming each other left and right for something. The complaint said Armour left the set expecting Mr. Halls to notify her when Baldwin arrived, but he did not. Instead, he gave the gun directly to Baldwin. Why didn't she check the bullet? Why didn't Halls obey her? Why did he give me the gun? Why didn't he check? Why didn't he tell the crew it was cold? Baldwin said. Gutierrez Reed, an inexperienced armorer, I'm sorry, don't know how to say that quite right, working only her second movie, has criticized the Santa Fe Sheriff's Office for failing to pursue fingerprint evidence on live rounds found on the set. An email from Detective to Gutierrez's attorney reported by Deadline suggests such inquiries didn't make sense because the items were from movie sets and had been handed over and over and over. In April, the state of New Mexico issued its maximum citation of $140,000 against Rust Production Company for safety lapses leading to Hutchinson's death. Gutierrez Reed is suing the company that provided the movie's firearms and ammunition. So now they're trying to blame the firearms production producers that had made the firearm. Again, like I just said, it's going to be a back and forth. Alec Baldwin blaming the assistant director, Hannah, to blaming Halls, to now blaming the people that made the gun. And it's just going to continue like this the whole entire time. There is, at the end of the day, I firmly believe that it's Alec Baldwin's fault. It's Hannah's. It's Hall's. I don't really necessarily think it would be the people making the gun because literally they gave you the gun. It is your responsibility of everybody involved with handling weapons to make sure that nothing like this happens, but that was not the case. All three of you got lazy, and I said all three. That includes Alec Baldwin, who does not want to accept any responsibility. He'd rather blame it on other people. And now he is going as far as to blame it on the people that made the firearms. We have a small favor to ask. Tens of millions have placed their trust in the Guardian's fearfulest journalism since we started publishing 200 years ago. Okay, so sorry, this is just them trying to get off their article and they want you to contribute. Which you should, because why not? It's the Guardian that provide news for free, so that's up to you. Anyways, so I have another article right here. This just goes into more details about the settlement. Rust settlement won't impact criminal investigation. So Alec Baldwin, just when you see him deflecting and deflecting and deflecting, there will be a criminal investigation. So somebody is still going to jail because of this. Just because the settlement was paid off and the settlement impact, there's still going to be a criminal investigation. Alec Baldwin could still go to jail because of this. A spokesperson for the DA's office tells us the proposed settlement announced today in Matthew Hutchins' wrongful death case against Rust movie producers, including Alec Baldwin, and the death of Halyna Hutchins, will have no impact on District Attorney Mary Kermack Altawas's ongoing investigation or her ultimate decision whether to file criminal charges in the case. The statement continues, while civil suits are settled privately and often involved financial awards, criminal cases deal only in facts. If the facts and evidence warrant a criminal charge under New Mexico's law, then charges will be brought. No one is above the law. Matthew Hutchins' settlement and the wrongful death suited against Alec Baldwin and others from the set of Rust means production is back on. But it doesn't mean the ongoing criminal investigation into DP's death is coming to any kind of halt. Sources connected to investigations tell TMZ the settlement will in no way affect criminal probe. The Sheriff's Department tells TMZ once the investigation is completed, the file will be forwarded to District Attorney, who will then decide who, if anyone, will be prosecuted. As reported, Baldwin and co. are picking up where they left off in the movie that claimed Halyna Hutchinson's life last year, because the actor continuing his lead role and other cast member will continue as well. Halyna's husband Matthew announced he's no longer pursuing a lawsuit against AB or the Rush producers, saying they've reached their terms and he's agreed to drop his wrongful death suit. Matthew has also signed on to be executive producer for the project. Attorney Jason Bowles, who is reaping on set of Armor, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, tells TMZ Hannah is grateful this settlement will benefit the Hutchins family, adding they're hopeful the DA's office will opt out of pursuing criminal charges. Now, that is very nice and very noble of Halyna Hutchinson's brother to handle the lawsuit going further, and that he is satisfied with what he's gotten financially from it. I guess at the end of the day, it would more or less be his choice whether or not there's a criminal investigation. I mean, I guess if he was paid out so fat that he has no need to pursue criminal investigations, maybe Alec Baldwin won't go to jail. Maybe nobody's going to jail for this. But, I mean, according to the DA, they still want to do a criminal investigation. So somebody might still be going to jail, or it gets dropped. But at the end of the day, this whole article is about Alec Baldwin. It's about him pushing the blame onto Hannah, to Halls. They're all at fault. Each and every one of the individuals that had handled the gun, or that was supposed to, is going to be at fault for this. Not just Alec Baldwin running around on media telling people that it's not his fault, that it's this person's fault or this person's fault. All three of them should be jailed. You know, Hannah might be coming off as very sincere and nice and wishing the family the best and everything that comes from this. And that's very noble of her, but she also needs to accept responsibility. Anybody that has had, in doing so, with holding the gun, handing it to Baldwin, to checking the gun, to saying it's cold, to Baldwin putting his fucking finger on the trigger and releasing the hammer, needs to be held responsible. They all do. But with that said, if there's another Alec Baldwin update that is important that you guys need to know, I'll be sure to cover it on the channel, and I do apologize. I'm a little late on this. Just got some other stuff going on that I'm dealing with, so keep in mind, I'll get to you guys when I do. This year's just been rather hectic for me, and it's coming to an end shortly. Things are going to be turning around drastically here pretty soon, and I'm excited. And I appreciate all my supporters understanding and being very patient and all that good stuff. So with that said, if you have enjoyed the video and would like to continue to see articles just in general of anything really that I feel like covering, be sure to leave a like, comment, consider subscribing, consider becoming a membership to the channel, which only starts at about $2. So I'd appreciate it sincerely. And the more members we get, the more I'll be able to do stuff. So with that said, I appreciate it, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.